tonight's episode had a very weird vibe to me. We had almost actually, we did have no time with the Ika tribe. We had that disaster of a immunity challenge, and then a very bizarre tribal where apparently nobody had a vote. So let's walk through. So we started off with Taku tribe and Marianne finding the three-way shared immunity idol. I kind of feel like she's just living her survivor dream right now, collecting powers. I think she's got an extra vote plus the shared immunity, which, she loses her vote. But it's very interesting just watching Marianne. My guess is that she's probably the next person voted out of Taku tribe. And when that happens, holy fudge and shiz. Vati, we had a weird moment. Like, this is like the only moment we got with them before the immunity challenge. And it was Daniel asking Mike if he can read the idol, and somehow he loses the idol and the note that came with it. They go back and they do find it. I think the idol was on the ground, and the note was still in Daniel's pants. Like come on, man, at least check your pants. Very, very ridiculous. And as we see throughout this episode, Daniel's behavior is getting a little bit too erratic for my liking. Immunity and reward challenge. So first and second get a reward plus immunity, and also whoever gets first place gets to choose either taking some fishing gear or some food. And of course, losers will be headed to tribal. Don't know if anybody else caught this, but really, really, really felt extremely early in the episode for a immunity challenge to be happening. Like, we got one scene with Taku, one scene with Vati, and we're into the immunity challenge. And then on top of that, what a weird immunity challenge. Jonathan, he was carrying anything he could grab. He was carrying humans. He was carrying the ladder. He was even he was throwing all the bags for the tribe. Like, he did everything for the tribe. Like, he carried Taku for the win, and they won by an enormous margin. Nobody else was even out of the water, and the water was nasty. If it wasn't for Jonathan, I think Omar and Marianne could still be in the ocean somewhere. And we eventually hit to the point, Taku's already done, they've won, and Jeff has to temporarily call the challenge, reset everything, give both teams a breather, and send somebody else out to go retrieve the keys for them before carrying on. From there, Vati and Ika tribe were extremely close. They came down to one final throw each, and they were going back and forth, missing before Ika tribe finally won and got second place. So Vati, for the first time this season, will be headed to tribal. We get a little twist before then with Omar and Chanel headed off to go make a decision, which was very, very bizarre to me, because Chanel was very, very clear that she wasn't going to risk anything, that she needed her vote, wasn't going to risk her vote. The vote was very important, and she told Omar that she's not risking it. So when it comes time to make the decision, of course, Omar says, well, she said she's not risking it, so I'm going to risk it. And Chanel sees that risk and says to herself, hey, if you want to win $1 million, you got to take risks. She takes the risk, And like, even when she gets back to the beach, like she immediately knew that she didn't have a vote. Like she knew. She did everything like she didn't have a vote, which was very, very bizarre. So Vati, they're headed to tribal, and it looks like Hai and Lydia want Jenny out. Mike and Jenny want Lydia out, and Daniel and Chanel also want Lydia out. But we're in a situation where Mike doesn't have a vote and Chanel doesn't have a vote, which leads into one of the most bizarre tribals we've ever seen. And the weird thing here was, they tried to convince Lydia and Hai to split their votes, and it kind of seemed like that's what the plan was, until we got to tribal, where Daniel immediately made a slip up, immediately made an error, and that was when Jeff asked him, hey, who calms you down? And the first name out of his mouth is Mike. Mike and then Jenny. And you could see Hai's reaction, that right away he thought to himself, yo, something is up here. I don't trust this. And it looked like when Hai went to vote, he changed his mind and wrote down Jenny's name. And since Chanel does not have a vote and lied to everybody about having a vote, we're in a situation where Hai and Lydia vote Jenny, Jenny and Daniel vote Lydia, and we're tied. We go to the revote, and only Hai and Daniel get to vote. They split the vote again, and then they come to a weird scenario where Daniel and Hai have to decide who to vote out, or the four people who weren't on the chopping block at that moment were going to have to draw stones where one of them would go home. Hai holds his ground, stands his ground, and says, I'm not changing my mind. It's Jenny. And of course, Daniel, he does change his mind, but not before totally throwing Chanel, his most trusted ally, under the bus, which was extremely unnecessary in my opinion. He just didn't need to do that. Like, now he's basically set up a scenario where, one, nobody's going to trust Daniel moving forward. Also skip that, yes, Jenny did get decided out, I guess. She didn't get voted out, decided out. No one's going to trust Daniel moving forward. Chanel and Mike are immediately going to pair up. They're going to be a new pair. And will Hai and Lydia, they're basically in a situation where they kind of have to trust Daniel, which is going to be very awkward because, once again, he's just going to be floating back and forth between the two groups. And on top of that, no vote for Mike, so looks pretty bad for anyone not named Hai and Lydia in Vati tribe. I think that this whole tribal is going to have big impacts on them as a whole. That tribe is fractured not even into two groups, but into 3 or 4. So that wraps things up for this week. Like I said, this episode had a very, very weird feel. We just didn't get any time with the tribes. Ika never even appeared on our screen, and it's going to be very, very interesting to see how things move forward from here. I really would like to get to the merger, or at least like some form of a merger sooner rather than later, because I feel like we get a little bit too starved of getting to a glimpse into everybody, because we don't get to see each tribe in depth each week. So the sooner they can come up with some sort of merge, the better. Yeah, so that's it for this week. As always, thank you so much for watching, everybody. And until next week, we will see you later.